Hello students, in the last lecture we completed the problems regarding the buffer solution. Yes or no? In this today's lecture what we are going to discuss is a very important topic, that is the acid base titrations. It is also known as pH titration curves. pH titration curves. So this is a very important topic regarding the advanced point of view. Okay, now some important terminology will be present in the acid base titration. First of all, we have to see what is the terminology which we use in titration, that is acid base titration. Now the definition of a titration: it is a process, it is a procedure in which a definite volumes of two solutions of known and unknown concentration are allowed to react with each other. Here, two solutions of known volume of known and unknown concentrations allowed to react with each other. Okay. Now, this is also referred as a volumetric analysis. It is also referred as a volumetric analysis. In this titration, there are different types of titrations. Acid base titration, when a reaction between acid and base takes place. Redox titration, the reaction that is occurring between a oxidant and a reductant, that is a redox reaction. That is titration is known as redox titration. Okay. Now here, number 2, what is the definition of a titrant? Titrant is a substance which is present in the dissolved state in the solution of known concentration. The substance whose concentration is known as a titrant. Number 3, titrate, the substance whose concentration to be calculated, determined, or whose concentration is unknown, that is to be calculated, is called titrate. Now this is a very important point, that is called equivalence point. Now here in this acid base reaction, particularly the exact, that is the point at which the number of equivalents of titrant and titrate will be equal. That means at the equivalent point, number of equivalents of a titrate will be equal to the number of equivalents of a titrant will be equal to the number of equivalents of a titrate, or number of milli equivalents of a titrant will be equal to the number of milli equivalents of titrate. Now this is known as a law of chemical equivalence, according to which in any chemical reaction the equivalence of all the reactants and products must be same. This is very important. That means in any chemical reaction, substances always combine in equivalent ratio. Are you getting my point? Now here the next point is the end point. End point is a practically observed point during the acid base reaction at which a physical change, especially the physical change, nothing but the color change occurs. Color change observed near the equivalence point. Now here generally in acid base reaction, the reaction when it is going to be completed, okay, we should not know exactly the point at where the reaction is completed, because neither acid nor base generally color. So they are colorless solutions, regarding which we have to observe at a particular point where there is some physical change, that is the color change occurs, that indicates the completion of the reaction. That point is regarding as a end point. Now how to identify the end point? With the help of the indicator. The sixth point is the indicator. Indicator which indicates the completion of a reaction. Now in generally, indicator is a external substance which is added to the reaction mixture, okay, to identify visually by the detection of the color change. Are you getting my point? This will be corresponding to the completion of the reaction at the end point. Are you getting my point? Indicator which indicates the completion of the reaction. Okay. Now there are different types of indicators: acid base indicators, redox indicators, precipitation indicators, adsorption indicators. Okay, but we are only dealing with here acid base indicators. Okay, now there are different types of acid base indicators. We are giving two examples. The most important and common examples are methyl orange indicator and phenolphthalein indicator. Methyl orange indicator, the short notation MEOH, and phenolphthalein, the short representation is HPH. Basically, these indicators are weak organic acids and weak organic bases. Okay, are you getting my point? Now these indicators, what they do, they show color change during the changing of the pH of the medium. That means in acidic medium they show one color, in basic medium they show another color. We will discuss in another topic of theory of indicators. Okay, now here we are going to dealing how many different types of acid base titrations. Okay, and what are the types of acid base titrations. Okay, let's see one by one. The first case we are going to discuss here, titration of a weak acid with a strong base. Weak acid with a strong base. Generally, the well-known example of a weak acid is a acetic acid, and well-known example of a strong base is a sodium hydroxide. The reaction between acetic acid and sodium hydroxide will give sodium acetate and H2O. Sodium acetate CH3COO Na, okay, and H2O. Now here in any acid base titration there are four important stages will be present. What are the stages here? The first stage, initial stage, that means at the beginning. At the beginning what happens? Only in the beaker, let's suppose here we are taking the one beaker where in this beaker we have acetic acid solution. Okay, now this is the burette. With the help of this burette we are adding the NaOH solution drop by drop. Are you getting my point? Now in the beginning, that means when we are not adding the NaOH from the burette, only in the beaker which solution is present? Acetic acid is present. That means in the starting, in the beginning, only acetic acid, that is a weak acid, is present. Okay, in the beaker. So in the beaker, how to calculate the H plus ion concentration? With the help of the weak electrolyte, that is the acetic acid. Okay, Ka is equal to C into alpha square by 1 minus alpha. We know weak electrolyte. Okay, dissociation. Okay, Oswald dilution law we know. Now next to second stage, before the equivalence point. Before the equivalence point means number of equivalents of acid will be equal to the number of equivalents of base. That point is called what? Equivalent point. Before the equivalent point, what happens? That means you are adding the NaOH into the acetic acid solution. When acetic acid react with NaOH to form sodium acid. Are you getting my point? That means here what happens? Salt is forming sodium acetate, and in the beaker acetic acid will be present. Now the NaOH, remember NaOH is here limiting reagent. This is very important. So in the beaker acetic acid is present and we are adding the NaOH, so which combining with acetic acid to form salt. So this is nothing but acidic buffer. So before the equivalence, in the beaker acidic buffer will be formed. We know how to calculate the pH of a acidic buffer. Okay, now this is a very important point at equivalence point. At equivalence point what happens? Number of equivalents of acetic acid and number of equivalents of NaOH both must be equal. When both must be equal, that means both are limiting reagents and they completely consume and they form the salt, that is the sodium acetate. So at the equivalent point you will have salt formation in the beaker. How to find the pH of a salt solution? We know the anionic hydrolysis, that is the acetate ion undergoing hydrolysis, so due to which the aqueous solution will be basic and pH will be greater than 7 at room temperature. Now after equivalence point what happens? That means the acetic acid will be completely consumed and still we are adding the NaOH into the beaker. When still we are adding the NaOH into the beaker, in the beaker what happens? The NaOH concentration increases in the solution. Are you getting my point? That means indirectly OH minus ion concentration increases after the equivalence point. That means after equivalence point the pH of a solution is calculated with the help of NaOH, that is the strong base which is present in the beaker. So So these are the 4 points. The first point will be starting, that is the time taken 0. Next point is the before equivalence. Next point is at equivalence. Next point after equivalence. Okay. Now we are explaining the weak acid, that is acetic acid, strong base, NaOH titration by taking one example here. 50 ml of a 0.1 m acetic acid, the Ka value 10 raised to minus 5, treated with 0.1 molar NaOH. Okay, solution. Now calculate the pH of a solution after addition of a 0 ml, 10 ml, 25 ml, 40 ml, 50 ml, 60 ml and 70 ml of a NaOH solution. First of all, write the reaction between acetic acid and sodium hydroxide. Okay, when acetic acid combined with sodium hydroxide to form what? Sodium acetate, that is CH3COONa and H2O. Okay, now here first of all find the equivalent point. What is the equivalence point? It is a point at where number of milli equivalents of acid will be equal to the number of milli equivalents of base. Yes or no? Now what is the concentration of acetic acid given? 0.1. How to find the number of milli equivalents? Normality into volume in ml. Let's suppose normality N1, volume V1, normality N2, volume V2, corresponding to acid and base. Okay, now the normality molarity into N factor, molarity of acetic acid 0.1, N factor will be 1, the volume of the acetic acid 50 ml. So normality molarity into N factor, molarity of sodium hydroxide 1, N factor 1, and we have to find the volume of the NaOH, that is exactly required for the complete neutralization of the acetic acid. So from here V2 is equal to 50 ml NaOH. This is very important. That means the 50 ml acetic, the 50 ml of a NaOH is the corresponding to the equivalent point. Okay, now 50, less than 50 ml before equivalent point, more than 50 ml after equivalent point. Okay, now here one by one what I am doing here. Number 1, initially 0 ml of NaOH. That means we do not adding any NaOH into the beaker. Okay, that means in the beaker only acetic acid will be present. Only acetic acid. What is the molarity of acetic acid given in the question? 0.1 molar acetic acid. That means only we can find the pH of a solution with the help of weak electrolyte, that is the acetic acid. So pH decided by acetic acid only. Yes or no? Now what is the alpha? Under root of Ka by C. Ka value given 10 raised to minus 5, concentration 10 raised to minus 1 under root. Okay, this will be 10 raised to minus 2, this is 1%. So the approximation is correct. Now what is the H plus ion concentration at equilibrium for a weak electrolyte? C into alpha. What is the C value given? Acetic acid 0.1 molar, alpha just now calculated 10 to the power minus 2. So H plus ion concentration will be 10 raised to minus 3 molar. So pH of the solution initially is what? 3. pH of a solution is how much? 3. Okay, this is the initial stage. Now let's suppose I am adding 10 ml of a NaOH. What happens? 10 ml NaOH added. Then what happens? Now acetic acid react with NaOH to give sodium acetate CH3COONa plus H2O. Now how many millimoles of acetic acid will be present? 0.1 molar and 50 ml given in the question. See here, 0.1 molar 50 ml given in the question. Okay, that is nothing but 5 millimoles. Acetic acid concentration 0.1. Now 10 ml we are adding, so that is 1 millimole. Okay, now here NaOH is a limiting reagent which is completely consumed. Acetic acid will be left to 4 millimoles and 1 millimole of the salt will be formed. Yes or no? This is the first case, that is the buffer. Which buffer? Acidic buffer. It is a mixture of weak acid and its conjugate base. Okay. How to find the pH of a buffer? pH is equal to pKa plus log of salt concentration, that is the acetate ion concentration, upon acid concentration, that is the acetic acid. What is the pKa? 5, because Ka is equal to 10 to the power minus 5 given. So pKa will be minus log 10 to the power minus 5, that is 5, plus log of salt concentration 1, acid concentration 4, 1 by 4. Okay, from here accelerate 5 minus log 4. Log 4 nothing but 0.6, so 4.4. This is the pH of the solution after addition of 10 ml of a NaOH. Okay, now come to number 3. When 25 ml of NaOH is added. Okay, now here what happens? 5 millimoles of acetic acid. Now the NaOH will be 2.5 millimoles. Okay, now 2.5 consumed, 2.5 millimoles acetic acid will be present, 2.5 millimoles NaOH completely consumed, and 2.5 millimoles of salt will be formed. From here directly I am writing pH is equal to pKa plus log of salt concentration by acid concentration. So log 1 will be 0. So next pH value how much? 5. Okay, now next we are adding 40 ml NaOH. How many ml of NaOH? 40 ml NaOH. So here 5 millimoles of acetic acid, 4 millimoles of NaOH. So NaOH consumes. So out of the 5 millimoles, 4 millimoles will react with NaOH. So 1 millimole acetic acid left and 4 millimoles of salt will be formed. Here what is the pH here? pH is equal to, again you have acidic buffer, pKa plus log of salt concentration by acid concentration. So from here the pH of the solution will be 5 plus 0.6, that is the 5.6 after addition of the 40 ml NaOH. Now the next one, after addition of the 50 ml, this is very important. 50 ml is the equivalent point. Just now in the beginning I calculated 50 ml of NaOH corresponding to the equivalent point. Okay, now here, now completely acetic acid 5 millimoles and NaOH will be also 5 millimoles. So complete neutralization takes place. So salt will be formed and water will be formed. So 5 millimoles, both are limiting reagents. So both are completely consumed and 5 millimoles of salt will be obtained. Now the pH of a solution will be decided by the salt formation, that is the sodium acetate salt. What is the concentration of the salt here? How many millimoles of the salt will be there? 5 millimoles. Total volume 50 ml of acetic acid and 50 ml of NaOH. Are you getting my point? 5 by 100, that is 1 by 20. Now what is the pH of anionic hydrolysis of a salt? pH is equal to half into pKw plus pKa plus log C. What is the concentration of the salt here? 1 by 20. Log C nothing but log of 1 upon 20. Okay, now here half into, what is the pKw? 14. pK value 5. Log C nothing but log of 1 by 20. Log of 1 by 20. Are you getting my point? Now here after simplification of this one, you will get the pH value 8.85. This is the equivalent point. At equivalent point, what is the pH of the solution? 8.85, which can be calculated with the help of salt hydrolysis. Salt hydrolysis. Are you getting my point? Salt hydrolysis. Now after 50 ml, the next continuation is given how many ml? 60 ml is given to you. 60 ml. Now here next continuation 60 ml of NaOH is added. That means 5 millimoles of acetic acid, now 6 millimoles of NaOH. Okay. Now 5 millimoles of acetic acid completely consumed and 5 millimoles of NaOH consumed and 1 millimole of NaOH will be formed and 5 millimoles of sodium acetate will be present. Are you getting my point? Now here in the solution you have salt, that is the Na, CH3COO Na, and one strong base NaOH and weak acid, that is acetic acid, completely consumed. Are you getting my point? That means now the pH of a solution, pH of solution decided by strong base, that is called sodium hydroxide. Okay. And one more important thing, in the presence of strong base, in the presence of a strong base, CH3COO Na, that is a salt hydrolysis is neglected. Is what? Neglected. This is very important. Now here, what is the NaOH concentration in the solution? How many millimoles of NaOH is present in the solution? 1. Total volume will be 50 ml acetic acid and 60 ml of a NaOH. This is 1 by 110. So approximately I am taking 10 raised to minus 2. So this is the OH minus ion concentration, which is nothing but 10 raised to minus 2. From here pOH value will be 2. From here pH value approximately, not exactly, because I am taking 1 by 110 as a 1 by 100 only. Are you getting my point? So this is not exactly, I am writing approximately the pH value 12. Okay. And one more is given 70 ml of NaOH added. That means here 5 millimoles of acetic acid and 7 millimoles of NaOH. So 5 millimoles completed acetic acid. Out of the 7 millimoles, 5 millimoles react with acetic acid and 2 millimoles of NaOH will be present and 5 millimoles of salt will be present. Again here the pH was decided by NaOH solution, where number of millimoles of NaOH 2 and total volume here how much? 50 ml of acetic acid and 70 ml of NaOH. So 2 by 120, that is nothing but 1 by 60. Are you getting my point? Now from here, what is the pOH? Negative logarithm to the OH minus ion concentration. So minus log of 1 by 60, that will be log 60. Okay, log 60 nothing but 1.78. Okay, now from here pH is equal to 14 minus pOH, which is nothing but 12.22. Are you getting my point? Now here if you see, initially in the beginning the pH is due to free ions available from the weak acid. Okay, so initially the pH value fastly changes. If you see initially, actually when 0 ml is there, what is the pH value? 3. When 10 ml is added, the pH value increases to 4.4 from 3. Are you getting my point? Now here after 4.4, the next pH value here is 5.6, and after that you will have the pH value how much? 8.85, and after that the pH value will be how much? 12 nearly, and after that 70 ml of NaOH addition, the pH of the solution will be how much? 12.22. Okay. Now the slow down of the pH is due to, initially pH value increases due to free available ions of the weak acid, but after that the pH value will decrease due to formation of the buffer solution. Do you know buffer solution which resists the change in the pH? So there will be slightly increase in the pH, not in the beginning as the pH increases, but in the second stage, that means after initial stage, due to formation of a buffer solution, the pH slowly increases, not rapidly increases, and the pH value will be maximum at pH is equal to pKa, that is 1:1 concentration of salt and weak acid will be present. There the pH value will be maximum. Are you getting my point? Near the equivalent point, again the pH value increases because of the salt formation, because at equivalent point salt undergo hydrolysis, so salt hydrolysis, due to which pH of a solution increases. After equivalent point, the pH value again sharply increases because the formation of the strong base, that is the NaOH. Okay. Now indicator should change its color sharply for indication of the reaction to be completed. Just now I told you in the beginning, indicator has a great significance in the completion of the reaction. It will show color change, okay, by visually. So its pH range should be lie perfectly within the sharp range to avoid the experimental error. Now in this reaction we will use a phenolphthalein indicator, that is a suitable indicator. Which indicator we will use in the titration of a weak acid and strong base? Phenolphthalein. Are you getting my point? Now here, this is the graph titration pH curve corresponding to weak acid and strong base. Initially, what is the pH of the acetic acid? 3. Okay. As we adding the NaOH, that is taken on the volume of NaOH taken on the x-axis and pH of the solution on the y-axis. So as the NaOH, that is the base increase and base added, then what happens? So before equivalent point, you will obtain the buffer solution, that is the acidic buffer, where the acidic buffer pH value slightly increases, not largely increases. After completion of the buffer solution at equivalent point, immediately the pH of a solution rises. That's why the curve become very sharp. There is a sharp range, the steeper portion. Here the pH value increases because of salt to hydrolysis. This is the equivalence point. Okay. After that, again the pH of the solution increases due to formation of a strong base, that is the NaOH. Here the sharp increase in this range. Okay. Now in this range, that is 8 to 10 range, the phenolphthalein indicator is a suitable indicator which we can use in this titration. Are you getting my point? Now here, slope maximum and minimum. For the minimum slope, there is a straight line. Where the straight line is there, for a straight line the slope parallel to x-axis will be minimum in case of a buffer solution. So here acidic buffer will be formed. Here the pH will be pKa, then only the buffer is said to be a good buffer or a best buffer. And slope will be where maximum when the straight line is vertical. Here the straight line is vertical, corresponding to salt hydrolysis portion. Which portion? Salt hydrolysis portion, that is the equivalent point. Are you getting my point? So this is the curve regarding the weak acid and strong base titration curve. Okay. Now here one question is given, which is a strong acid, HA or HB in the following figure. So here two graphs given here for HA and HB. So on the y-axis pH value, on the x-axis volume of the base added. Now here, if you see HA and HB, initially which acid has lower pH value? HB. As the pH value decreases, in the sense H plus ion concentration increases, or Ka, that is the dissolution constant of acid, increases, then acidic strength also increases. Acidic strength what happens? Increases. That means this will be the HB will be the strong acid and HA corresponding to what? Weak acid. HA corresponding to what? Weak acid. Are you getting my point? Now after that there will be titration of the polyprotic acid, that means which gives more than one H plus ion and strong base. Here there are different types of polyprotic acids. Let's suppose we have best example hydrogen sulfide. It is a diprotic acid which containing two ionizable H plus ions and the strong base, that is the NaOH. Remember, if a polyprotic acid titration is there, then number of H plus ions ionizable here in H2S there are 2, that's why here there will be 2 buffer solution will be formed. So this is the first buffer, this will be the second buffer. H2S plus NaHS first buffer, NaHS plus Na2S second buffer, and simultaneously there will be 2 salts will be formed in the solution, NaHS and Na2S. Okay, now in the beginning I told you in any acid base titration there are 4 stages, 4 points we have to always remember. The first point is the starting stage. In the starting stage, that means here we are taking the only in the beaker hydrogen sulfide. So from the help of the burette, what we are adding? NaOH. What we are adding here? NaOH into the beaker. Okay. Now in this burette we have NaOH. But initially we do not adding any NaOH, only the pH will be decided by hydrogen sulfide. So pH will be decided by hydrogen sulfide that is present in the beaker. Now when we are adding the NaOH, okay, before equivalent point, what happens? NaOH will be limiting reagent, H2S will be excess of reagent, that means you will form a buffer solution. That buffer solution, that means H2S plus NaOH. NaOH will be limiting reagent, so you will get NaHS plus H2O. That means H2S plus NaHS will form acidic buffer. This is the first acidic buffer. Okay. Now after that you will get the first equivalent point. Here there are 2 equivalent points. Remember, because it is a diprotic acid, so there will be 2 equivalent points. At the first equivalent point, what happens? Salt undergo hydrolysis. What is the salt here? Sodium hydrogen, because H2S completely consumed, NaOH completely consumed. Only in the solution at equivalent point sodium hydrogen sulfide is present, which undergo salt hydrolysis. This salt will be amphoteric. We know in calculation of the pH regarding the salt hydrolysis for amphoteric species, what is the pH average of the arithmetic mean of the pKa1 and pKa2, that is pKa1 plus pKa2 divided by 2. This is the equation to calculate the pH of a solution where at equivalent point. Okay. Now before going to second equivalent point, that means in between first equivalent point and second equivalent point, what happens? Now in the solution salt will be present, sodium hydrogen sulfate, and again you are adding the NaOH drop by drop. Now what happens? NaHS will be acidic in nature because it containing the acidic proton, which may react with OH minus ions from the NaOH to form Na2S and H2O. Yes or no? So that means here again you will get the second buffer, because again the limiting reagent is NaOH, and you will have in the solution NaHS as well as Na2S. This is nothing but the acidic buffer 2. Now come to the second equivalent point. In the second equivalent point, what happens? Both NaHS and NaOH both are completely consumed. Only in the solution which will be present, Na2S will be present. So the pH of a solution will be decided by the salt hydrolysis. Now we know in the salt hydrolysis the pH of anionic hydrolysis, the pH of aqueous solution, that is pH is equal to half into pKw plus pKa2. Here this is a S minus 2 ions, that is a second ionization constant, that is pKa2 plus log C. Are you getting my point? Now after the second equivalent point, means here Na2S will be present in the solution, as well as you are adding the NaOH, which is a strong base. So we have to consider the pH of solution regarding the NaOH, and we should not consider the salt hydrolysis. Just now I told you in the previous case. Okay. Now in this graph, if you see, the first one we have the weak acid. Okay, as we adding the NaOH before the first equivalent point, you will get the first acidic buffer. Okay, after reaching the first equivalent point, this is the first equivalent point, EP1, first equivalent point or equivalence point, where the salt will undergo hydrolysis. After that, again you will get the second acidic buffer. After getting the second acidic buffer, now at the second equivalent point, it is EP2. You will get the second salt, that is Na2S. Okay. After that, again in the final mixture only you have the NaOH along with Na2S, but the pH of a solution was decided by strong base, not from the salt. Are you getting my point? Now there is a one more example, that is the carbonic acid and sodium hydroxide. Do you know carbonic acid is a diprotic acid, diacidic base, and NaOH will be the strong base. Now the first equivalent point, when both are completely consumed, carbonic acid and NaOH 1:1 ratio, you will get the sodium bicarbonate. And the second equivalent point, when the sodium bicarbonate and NaOH completely consumed, you will get the sodium carbonate salt. Okay. Now here also there will be two equivalent points, okay, because it is a diprotic acid. Now there will be two buffer. The first buffer will be carbonic acid and sodium bicarbonate, and the second buffer is the sodium bicarbonate and the sodium carbonate. Okay. Now there are two salts will be formed. The first salt will be sodium bicarbonate, NaHCO3, and the second carbonate is the second salt will be the sodium carbonate. Okay. And there will be how many equivalent points? Two equivalent points. So this is the first equivalent point, EP1. Second equivalent point, that is called EP2. Okay. Now in the beginning we are adding NaOH to the NaOH into the carbonic acid beaker. So let's suppose in the beginning we are not adding the NaOH, only in the beaker carbonic acid is present. So the carbonic acid is only present in the beaker initially, so we can determine the pH of carbonic acid. Okay, only with the carbonic acid we can determine the pH. But when we are adding the NaOH to the carbonic acid, what happens? Initially what happens? Carbonic acid, NaOH react with each other to give sodium carbonate and water. Now here the sodium hydroxide is a limiting reagent. That means you will get the, before the first equivalent point, you will get the first acidic buffer, that is the carbonic acid and sodium bicarbonate is the first acidic buffer before reaching the first equivalent point. Are you getting my point? Now at the first equivalent point, what happens? NaOH and H2CO3 both are completely consumed, and only in the mixture you will get sodium bicarbonate only. That is the first equivalent point. The first equivalent point, you will get the first salt, which is a sodium bicarbonate. Do you know this is a amphoteric species? Yes, this will be amphoteric. So we know in the hydrolysis of amphoteric species, the pH will be equal to pKa1 plus pKa2 by 2. So this is a very important expression regarding the calculation of the pH of amphoteric species. Okay. Now before going to second equivalent point, in between first equivalent and second equivalent point, what happens? Again NaOH will be the limiting reagent. That means NaOH will be the limiting reagent, and NaHCO3 will combine with NaOH to give Na2CO3. That means you will get the second buffer solution. This is the second buffer solution. This is the acidic buffer solution 2. So the second buffer solution, that is before reaching the second equivalence point, that will be the sodium bicarbonate, and sodium carbonate will be the second acidic buffer. The first acidic buffer here before reaching the first equivalent point, second buffer before reaching the second equivalent point. Let's suppose at the second equivalent point, what happens? Completely acid base will be completely consumed. That means here what happens? So both will be, that is the sodium bicarbonate will be limiting reagent and sodium hydroxide will be limiting reagent. Both are completely consumed. Only in the mixture you will get whom? Sodium carbonate. Are you getting my point? That means in the second equivalent point you will get the second salt, which is a sodium carbonate. Do you know how to calculate the pH of the salt solution? Yes, during the ionic hydrolysis, the aqueous nature of the solution will be what? Basic, and pH will be greater than 7. How we can find the pH of a solution? pH is equal to half into pKw plus pKa2 plus log C. Okay, After crossing the second equivalent point, what happens? In the mixture you will have sodium carbonate and also sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is a strong base which will decide the pH of the solution. Decide the pH of solution. This is very important, and we do not consider the salt hydrolysis, that is the sodium carbonate hydrolysis will be negligible in the presence of a strong base, that is the NaOH. Now here if you see the graph, in this graph the pH value on the y-axis and volume of NaOH added on the x-axis. Here remember, whenever we are adding the alkali, that means OH minus ion concentration increases, the pH value increases, and the graph will be in the upward direction. The pH value increases. Remember, if the acid is added, that means the volume of acid is taken on the x-axis. So when the acid is added, the H plus ion concentration increases, the pH value decreases, the graph must be in the downward direction. This is very important. Now there are two equivalent points. Just now I told you, first equivalent point in between 3.1 to 4.4 range. So you will use the first indicator known as a methyl orange indicator, MEOH general formula. And the second equivalent point in between 8.3 to 10, you have a sharp change here, in which the phenolphthalein is a most suitable appropriate indicator, the general formula HPH. So both indicators we have to use because there are two equivalent points. Are you getting my point? Now here we have to use two indicators. Number one, methyl orange indicator, MEOH. Number two, phenolphthalein indicator, HPH. Okay. Now here one more question is there: phosphoric acid and sodium hydroxide. Do you know phosphoric acid is a tribasic acid, triprotic acid? So that means it will form three buffer solutions, that is H3PO4 plus NaH2PO4. Number 2, NaH2PO4 plus Na2HPO4. Number 3, Na2HPO4 plus Na3PO4. And also three salts will be formed, that is the sodium dihydrogen phosphate, disodium hydrogen phosphate, and sodium phosphate. So there are three equivalent points. Okay. In the beginning what happens, just now I told you, in the beaker only phosphoric acid is present, so we can decide the pH with the help of a phosphoric acid. Once we are adding the NaOH to the H3PO4, before reaching the first equivalent point, you will get the first buffer, that is the H3PO4 plus NaH2PO4. Okay, how? This is the H3PO4 and this will be the NaOH. The combination of these two will give sodium dihydrogen phosphate plus H2O. Okay, NaOH will be limiting, so only you will present in the solution, that is H3PO4 and NaH2PO4. So this is the acidic buffer number 1. Okay, now at the first equivalent point what happens? H3PO4 NaOH both will be complete, only you will have sodium dihydrogen phosphate salt. So at the first equivalent point, sodium dihydrogen phosphate, that is the salt, will undergo hydrolysis. Do you know this salt will be amphoteric species? Yes, because it has two acidic hydrogens. In amphoteric species we have the formula pH is equal to pKa1 plus pKa2 by 2. Yes or no? Now in between first and second equivalent point there will be the second buffer, that means in the solution already you have sodium dihydrogen phosphate. Now you are adding the NaOH, which is also limiting reagent, so we will get disodium hydrogen phosphate. Yes or no? Now here what happens? You will have second buffer, this is the acidic buffer number 2. Okay, at the second equivalent point what happens? NaOH and NaH2PO4 completely consume, and you will have second salt, that is the disodium hydrogen phosphate. It will also undergo anionic hydrolysis. Here this is also amphoteric species, so we know how to calculate the pH of amphoteric species. Again pH is equal to, here pKa2 plus pKa3 divided by 2. This is very important. Okay, now between the second and third equivalent point you will get the third buffer, that is in the solution already you have disodium hydrogen phosphate, and again you are adding the NaOH drop by drop, so you will get the one more salt, that is the Na3PO4. Okay, now here NaOH limiting reagent, so you have the salt, you have the buffer number 3, that is the acidic buffer number 3. Okay, now the third equivalent point, both are completely consumed, only you have the salt, that is the sodium phosphate. This is the third salt which will undergo salt hydrolysis. Now in the salt hydrolysis, how to find the pH of a solution? pH is equal to half into pKw plus pKa3 plus concentration log of C, salt concentration. So here the phosphate ion will undergo anionic hydrolysis. In anionic hydrolysis, the aqueous nature of the solution will be basic and pH value greater than 7. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Now here, after third equivalent point, if you want to write after third equivalent point, after third equivalence point, what are present in the solution? Already at third equivalent point, Na3PO4 already present. Again we are adding still NaOH, so NaOH also present along with the sodium phosphate. Now the pH of a solution will be decided by strong base, and salt hydrolysis is not considered in the presence of the strong base. Are you getting my point? Now this is the graph pH curve. Okay, now the here first one we have the weak acid. Okay, now we have first acidic buffer and second acidic buffer and third acidic buffer. We have first salt hydrolysis and second salt and third salt, and after crossing the third equivalent point, still you are adding the NaOH, let's suppose, and finally in the mixture you have sodium phosphate and NaOH, and the solution pH was decided by strong base, that is the NaOH. Okay, now here one important question is there. 50 ml of a 0.1 mm phosphoric acid treated with 0.1 molar NaOH solution. Calculate the volume of NaOH added. Calculate the pH when the volume of NaOH added will be 0 ml, 25 ml, 50 ml, 75 ml, 100 ml, 125 ml, 150 ml and 200 ml. Are you getting my point? Now the pKa1, pKa2, pKa3 given as a 3, 7 and 11. Are you getting my point? Now here, first of all, we are adding initially 0 ml NaOH. That means we are not adding any NaOH. Only in the beaker phosphoric acid is present. Are you getting my point? Now here, alpha, there is a degree of ionization of a weak electrolyte under root of Ka by C. The Ka nothing but Ka1, first dissociation constant, that is 10 raised to minus 3, because pKa1 3, so Ka1 will be 10 raised to minus 3 and 0.1. Now here 10 raised to minus 2, so this will be 10 to the power minus 1. Are you getting my point? So this will be the 0.1, nothing but 10%. Actually we should not use this one, because less than or equal to 5% only this formula is valid. Still up to 10% we can take, up to 10% we can assume. Okay, now the H plus ion concentration will be nothing but C into alpha. What is the C value here? 0.1, and alpha value again you have 0.1, so 10 raised to minus 2 molar. So approximately the pH of the solution initially 2. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? Okay, otherwise if you want to calculate with the help of quadratic expression, then you can use H3PO4 gives H plus PO4 H2PO4 minus. Okay, so 0.1 minus X, let's suppose here X, so X into X upon 0.1 minus X will be equal to Ka1, that is nothing but 10 raised to minus 3. After solving this, you will get the X value, which is 9.51 into 10 raised to minus 3. After that, calculating the pH value, you will get to 2.02. Okay, here you are getting the pH value roughly 2. Okay, now here what happens, I am adding how many ml of NaOH? 25 ml. Now write the equation between the phosphoric acid and sodium hydroxide. Phosphoric acid and sodium hydroxide. Okay, now here first ionization here. Okay, sodium dihydrogen phosphate is the salt formation and H2O. Now here phosphoric acid is 50 ml, 0.1 molar, so you have 5 millimoles of phosphoric acid, and NaOH will be 0.1 into Now we are adding the 25, so 2.5 millimole. Okay, now here 2.5 limiting reagent, so 2.5 millimoles of acid will be left and 2.5 millimoles of salt will be formed. That means you are getting acidic buffer. So for acidic buffer, the pH will be equal to pKa1 plus log of salt concentration 2.5, acid also 2.5, they will be get cancelled. The pKa1 value here given in the question 3. Okay, now this is the second one. Okay, now come to third one given how many ml? 50 ml. That means here you have H3PO4 plus NaOH will be equal to NaH2PO4 plus H2O. So it is 5 millimole, this is fixed. Okay, now here it is also 5 millimoles. Okay, now both are limiting reagent, so you will get 5 millimoles salt. Here complete neutralization takes place. That means this is corresponding to first equivalence point. First equivalent point occurs at 50 ml. Now here what happens? Here salt undergo hydrolysis. We have to consider the salt hydrolysis. We have to consider what? Salt hydrolysis to calculate the pH. Now remember, this is which species? Amphoteric substance. So for amphoteric substance, pH will be equal to what? pKa1 plus pKa2 whole divided by 2. 3 plus 7 by 2. 10 by 2, that is called 5. Okay, so this is the 50 ml of NaOH is added, that is the first equivalent point. After that you have 75 ml of NaOH. When 75 ml of NaOH is added, what happens? So 5 millimoles of phosphoric acid and 7.5 millimoles of NaOH. So there will be no salt formation. 5 millimoles of phosphoric acid consumes out of 7.5, 5 completely consumes and 2.5 will be left, and 5 millimoles of sodium dihydrogen phosphate will be present. Okay, now sodium dihydrogen phosphate, how many millimoles? 5. And how many millimoles of NaOH is also present in the mixture? 2.5. And there is a second salt formation, that is the disodium hydrogen phosphate plus H2O. Here what happens? 2.5 will be the limiting reagent. Here 2.5 millimoles will be left and 2.5 millimoles of salt will be formed. Again this will be the second buffer solution. Here also pH will be equal to, in this case, pKa2 plus log of salt concentration and acid concentration are equal. So that's why you have directly pKa2 value how much? 7. Okay, after that next we are adding 100 ml. We are adding 100 ml of NaOH. Now here in 100 ml of NaOH, what happens? First of all, H3PO4 plus NaOH. This is the first neutralization reaction I am writing. Sodium dihydrogen phosphate plus H2O. Are you getting my point? Now here what happens? 10 millimoles of NaOH, only 5 millimoles of phosphoric acid. So you will get the 5 millimoles of sodium dihydrogen phosphate and 5 millimoles of NaOH present in the mixture. Are you getting my point? Now sodium dihydrogen phosphate plus sodium hydroxide, both are here now limiting reagent. So both are completely consumed. You will get disodium hydrogen phosphate. Salt formation occurs. So 5 millimoles completely reacted and 5 millimoles of salt will be formed. Now this is the second equivalence point. What is this? Second equivalent point. From here we are consider salt hydrolysis. We are considering what? Salt hydrolysis. That is the sodium disodium hydrogen phosphate. Again it is amphoteric species. Again it is what? Amphoteric species. For such species, what is the pH? Now pKa2 plus pKa3 divided by 2. Are you getting my point? That is 7 plus 11 by 2. That is 9. Okay. Now sixth one, how many ml of NaOH is added, 125 ml of NaOH is added, 125 ml of NaOH is added. That means here you have H3PO4 5 millimoles, NaOH will be 12.5, here 5 completely consumed, here 7.5 will be left, and 5 millimoles of sodium dihydrogen phosphate will be present. Okay, now here sodium dihydrogen phosphate will be 5 millimoles and 7.5 millimoles NaOH. Again you have 5 millimoles of sodium dihydrogen phosphate completely consumed, and 2.5 millimoles of NaOH be present, and 5 millimoles of disodium hydrogen phosphate will be present. Okay, now again here disodium hydrogen phosphate plus sodium hydroxide. How many millimoles of disodium hydrogen phosphate? 5. How many millimoles of NaOH? 2.5. And there is a third ionization, third neutralization to give sodium phosphate and H2O. Okay, here what happens? NaOH will be limiting reagent, 2.5 millimoles of disodium hydrogen phosphate, and again 2.5 millimoles of sodium phosphate will be present. This is the third buffer, third acidic buffer. So here pH is equal to, shall write pKa3 plus log of salt concentration 2.5, acid concentration also 2.5. Directly pKa3 value in the question given, it is a 11. It is given as a 11. Are you getting my point? Now here next one, we are adding 150 ml. We are adding 150 ml of NaOH. Now in the 150 ml of NaOH, what happens? 5 millimoles of phosphoric acid and 15 millimoles of NaOH. Okay, now 5 millimoles phosphoric acid completely consumed, 10 millimoles of NaOH will be present, and 10 millimoles of sodium dihydrogen phosphate. Again sodium dihydrogen phosphate 10 millimoles. Just wait, here only 5 millimoles, here 5 millimoles of disodium hydrogen phosphate. Okay, now here 5 millimoles of sodium dihydrogen phosphate, 10 millimoles of NaOH. Okay, now the sodium dihydrogen phosphate completely neutralizes, and 5 millimoles of NaOH will be present, and 5 millimoles of disodium hydrogen phosphate will be present. And finally in the mixture you have disodium hydrogen phosphate 5 millimoles and NaOH is also 5 millimoles. So finally you will get sodium phosphate. Both are limiting reagent here, so both will be completely consumed, and 5 millimoles of sodium phosphate salt will be formed. With the help of salt hydrolysis we can find the pH. We can find the pH of the solution. Okay, so salt concentration 5 millimoles by total volume 50 ml of phosphoric acid and 150 ml of NaOH. So 5 by 200, nothing but 1 by 40. Okay, now the formula for the salt hydrolysis pH calculation, half into pKw plus pKa3 plus log of concentration. What is the log of concentration? That is 1 by 40. Okay, after simplification you will get the answer 11.52. 11.52. Are you getting my point? And one more is given here. 200 ml of NaOH is added. 200 ml of NaOH is added, and finally you will get only what? Finally you will get in the mixture, directly I am writing Na3PO4. Okay, Na3PO4 and NaOH both will be present, and these 5 millimoles will be present. So the concentration of OH minus ions will decide the pH of the solution. So 5 millimoles by total volume 50 ml of phosphoric acid and 200 ml of what? Sodium hydroxide. So total 1 by 50. Okay, from here the